All right, so I think players are getting ready. Let me contact Viper. All right. So next up, Serkan, who just most recently won the Victory Road Challenge. I think against the Japanese player actually in finals against Zine, who didn't make the roster this time for Team Japan. But it's really interesting to see. I think he actually wanted to play against Hirofumi Poke. So that's a great matchup here. And yep, see. I don't know. Yeah, then 4 more games to go. 7 in total. Actually, really exciting so far to see Germany take the first one, Japan coming back with 2 strong games. We have 2 more world champions to play for Team Japan. So let's see how that goes. On the same side, I think I got confirmation from Serkan. Yeah, if you guys in chat have any questions, let us know. We can cover the time while players are getting ready here. And then... Oh yeah, I mean, it looks like they connected already and they just need to pick the Pokemon, the teams. If I'm correct. Yes. So that's what they're doing. Oh, we just see, I missed the bit where Japan was picking the team. But we'll see that in team preview in a second. Alright, and there's team preview coming up just now. So on Heroes' side, we have Duraludon, which we haven't seen in a long while. Incineroar, Specs Toxtricity, a Weakness Policy Togekiss, what else? Dusclops and Snorlax, while Viper is going with his trusted Dragapult Arcanine, Rotom Wash, Tyranitar, Mimikyu, and Togekiss combination. It's a really interesting team from Hirofumi. I don't know exactly if Viper was expecting Duraludon and Toxtricity here. And the Weakness Policy Togekiss can also cause a lot of trouble. So let's see how that turns out here, actually. And on Viper's side, I think this is pretty similar to what he was using in the Victory Road Challenge, with some interesting twists on the items on several Pokemon. But yeah, I don't think he has faced Duraludon and Toxtricity in this kind of manner. We see Hirofumi takes his time, goes for Incineroar and Duraludon as his lead Pokemon. And Togekiss in the back, interesting. Okay, so maybe a late game Weakness Policy Togekiss sweep. And both players are locked in their Pokemon, and we are about to jump into game 1.
Yep, and I'm back here as well. So yeah, that's quite a cool team by Hirofumi. This might be, if I had a guess, I would say that this is probably really fast Duraludon, so you can max Darkness before your special type attackers hit.
Yeah, that could be one option. Lower special defense and then go for Dazzling. But then it's interesting that he would potentially Dynamax his Duraludon early on and has the Weakness Policy Togekiss in the back.
Yep. So then maybe he's just going to attack with Duraludon, maybe take 1 KO or something. But yeah, this is already kind of interesting. Okay, already knows exactly what he wants to do. Locks in immediately, going for U-turn and Max Steel Spike into the Tyranitar. Okay.
Maybe expecting a Sash there. Wants to take out the Tita straight away. Let's see. Tita actually switches out though.
Okay.
If this is Togekiss, oh, it's Arcanine. It's a great switch on Viper's end there. We'll take almost no damage from that Max Steel Spike, and U-turn won't do a lot of damage either. But then again, Hirofumi gets the chance to reposition.
Yep.
With
If this is the same team that Viper used in the challenge, I think this is actually Assault Vest Arcanine. So this should, really take this attack very well. Let's see if... It looks like no Dynamax coming out from Viper's end just yet. So...
Alright, seems to just go for Protect. I think we had seen that this is a weakness policy Dragapult, so if there was any max moment going into that Protect... Ooh, is that a critical hit?
I guess so. Yeah.
Yes. Okay, whew.
Yeah,
That was
that's pretty annoying.
But yeah, okay. I take back what I said, that this Arcanine is taking this Steel Spike easily. It's down to less than about 1/3 less left there.
Yep.
But yeah, potential play would have been to get a Wormwind into that Protect, then activate the weakness policy, and then next turn you can Dynamax with the weakness policy activated. Togekiss actually switches in. Now has the Follow Me support, and I want to say that thanks to this crit, this Duraludon is in a really good position.
Yeah, certainly. We would expect this Arcanine to outspeed Duraludon, so it can go for Yawn this turn and really reduce the special attack, like the special damage from both of these guys. So it would definitely take another one of Duraludon's moves, probably. But
Another option with this Arcanine and Dragapult combination is to go for Max Phantasm and then a potential close combat. But since we already had the Steel Spike in turn 1, defense boosted there, and I don't think that the combination now would have been enough to take out.
And then there's also like potential Follow Me you have to consider.
Yeah.
So I think Dragapult is already in kind of a bad spot here against this Max Duraludon. Might want to switch out, and that is exactly what Viper is doing. Brings in the Mimikyu, which is smart switching. Even if this was predicted, it like only breaks the disguise. So Snarl coming out.
Clever Snarl there, lowering the special attack. And if this is a Max Wormwind into Dragapult, I actually haven't paid attention there, but is it another Steel Spike?
Okay.
Yeah, breaks the Disguiser, and then we see it was followed up by a Dazzling Gleam from the Togekiss. Might not be enough for Arcanine, but definitely dealing a lot of damage to that Mimikyu. Although it is -1 through the Snarl.
So, how I understand Viper's team, like it definitely prefers to play like offensively, like having the faster Pokemon and having all the damage potential. Now, with this Arcanine, he kind of was like forced to go on the defensive a little bit against this Duraludon. But he has the resources, I feel like, to stall out this Dynamax, especially if he, say, goes for like a Phantom Force or something.
Yeah.
So, the Snarl is really nice here, and Arcanine still outspeeds both Pokemon, and then Viper will have the light Dynamax option. So, yeah, it looks like the Phantom Force and the Snarl, which I think is a good move, just to make sure that this Duraludon doesn't do like that much damage during its Dynamax. Like at the end of it, it will have knocked out Arcanine, but also 2 Pokemon on Hirosi's side are at -2 special attack, and with
they won't do too much damage. But yeah, the crit early on, and then the +3 defense here on Duraludon will make it really hard to get rid of, especially since Arcanine is down now.
But I still feel like, even despite the crit, Viper like played to his out kinda, and he was saying like, okay, with that crit, well, like you will be able to knock out Arcanine with your Dynamax, but at the end of it, even with the crit, like he only got 1 Pokemon. Like this could have gone differently, where like Hiroshi, he could have maybe taken 2 or 3 KOs with his Dynamax, but now he has 2 Pokemon that are both at -2, and well, like Mimikyu is kinda like up for grabs now, since it's like forced to go for the Phantom Force. So if Hiroshi wanted to, he could try and go for the knockout there. But yeah, I still feel like Viper's position is like not as bad as it could have been.
That's true. So he still has his Dynamax up. Dragapult's in a good position because that -2 on the Duraludon and the Togekiss. But yeah, like Hiroshi has the option to just switch out here. And then eventually get back. And if you pick up the knockout on Mimikyu here with the Flash Cannon, for example, you're basically up 4-2 here. So I'm interested to see what Togekiss went for, and if Viper anyhow gets the chance to, I don't know, pick up 1 KO here, which would be really important to not get back too far to come back into this game.
Yeah, also depends quite a lot on where this Phantom Force is going.
Oh wow!
That doesn't do any damage.
Yeah, weakness policy wasn't activated there, which shows how weak Dragapult can be if you don't activate his weakness policy.
Yeah,
and since
the boost is... Yeah, this is not enough. The defense boost really coming in clutch here.
Yeah, well played. They're not going for any max moments or anything, just trying to take the knockout.
But now, after this Draco Meteor, he activates the weakness policy. But this is followed up by a Dazzling Gleam, I would assume.
Yeah, but it's also -2 Dazzling Gleam if he doesn't crit, which doesn't look like it.
Oh, it doesn't get either KO. Okay, that's pretty big.
And Roluna's at -4 now, so I don't know the full moveset of that Mimikyu, but a potential max Phantasm could pick up the KO on Togekiss. And then, I don't know if a Play Rough at +1 defense probably not enough.
I don't think, no way. I think you need to max Wormwind the Droludon here for the KO. And then Mimikyu targets Togekiss, I guess.
Yeah, Wormwind is really dangerous, of course, with the potential Follow Me from Togekiss. But I see where you're going there.
Yeah,
I was thinking maybe a Shadow
Sneak and Wormwind, something like that. Like, I think at least that's threatening at the moment.
Yeah. So it's really interesting to see that Hirofumi, like in the last couple of turns, he took like 5 seconds to like he knew exactly what he was going to. But it seems like now he's in an awkward position where,
goes for Protect with Togekiss. So yeah, if this is max Wormwind, that would be the way back in the game. Okay, that's Shadow Sneak into the Togekiss. And
which probably allows... Oh, okay. Max Phantasm.
Yeah, that's not enough. Ooh, yeah, he needed that... well, yeah, if he's... depending on what Dragon-type move he has, it's probably the same base power. So yeah, then... with that Calc, it looks like there wasn't really any way for him to do this. And yeah, Hirofumi makes the right call there, goes for the Protect. Does not lose the Togekiss this turn, and Dragapult is probably...
I don't know, Sandstorm is just...
Okay,
vanished,
just ends at the right time.
Oh yeah, and here, like, Dragapult also immune to Fake Out, so since Hirofumi has no speed control here, a potential Shadow Sneak and Phantasm can pick up, or even a Wormwood can pick up 2 KOs here.
Yeah.
Seeing that he went for the Toxtricity makes me want to believe that he might have a switch in mind where he switches in Incineroar here. But
yeah, he could like switch in Incineroar and Follow Me, for example.
Yeah, because otherwise I think at neutral, a Shadow Sneak should be able to take out the knockout here. Though, I don't know, maybe a Shadow Sneak and a Wormwind could be the right play for Serkan to come back into this game, which looked like really rough. But the Snarls and the Draco Meteor special attack drops, really good.
Yeah, Dragapult just so bulky, taking 2 Draco Meteors in this game. And there's the switch you mentioned, Incineroar coming back, and now, yeah, it kind of comes down to what this Mimikyu does. If Shadow Sneak gets the KO on Togekiss, I think this would be really, really good. And probably close to winning, but -1 Mimikyu. And it gets the knockout with a critical hit.
Oh my god, there's the critical hit.
Oh my.
Oh wow. Okay, that was clutch for Serkan here. Mimikyu actually going down. And I want to say that if there's a max Wormwind here, which I feel like is the better play overall.
Oh, he goes for Phantasm.
I don't agree with that play too much. Dealing a lot of damage, but I want to say that
the critical hit. Wow.
I guess he was fearing probably Shadow Sneak to not knock it out.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure. Which, in all honesty, without the crit, it might not have KO'd.
Yeah, that's an interesting clock to see there. Tita coming back from the very early, like he led with that Tita, brought it, like took it back. It's not intimidated. It sets up the Sandstorm again. And if this is a fast Tita, I think a Rock Slide could be enough to take out.
Yeah, like Dragon Darts, Rock Slide, I guess. But this is probably just Fake Out Max Overdrive.
What do you mean Max Overdrive? You already Dynamaxed.
No, it's just Overdrive. Yeah, like Fake Out Overdrive. And yeah, Protect, I think, is the right call. Protect Dragon Darts.
Yeah, the problem is that you cannot Phantom Force because of Sandstorm. So there's the Dragon Darts here. Should do a lot of damage.
It will put both mons into Rock Slide KO range. Oh, it might even knock out the Incineroar.
Yeah, thanks to the Sandstorm there. And Overdrive. Alright, that's a 1v1. And I don't think that, as much as I like Toxtricity, I don't think in Sandstorm it can take on a Tyranitar.
Yeah, certainly not. So, yeah, as long as this Tyranitar has a move that connects for sure. Yeah, which Rock Slide wouldn't do, but Crunch definitely would do.
Yeah, Crunch, even if he has Assurance, I think any move that connects here with the Sandstorm should be able to take it out.
Yep.
It's really interesting to see speed sets as well, so you see that Toxtricity is faster, and still dealing... Oh, and he goes for the Assurance.
And gets the knockout, and with that, the victory in this first game. Viper coming back after, what didn't look that great of a turn 1, with that critical hit from the Duraludon onto Arcanine, but yeah, as we were saying during that Dynamax of Duraludon, it didn't get that much work done, and yeah, Viper's Dragapult really proved to be the MVP of the set, surviving so many moves, and then in the end also then taking those KOs in return.
Yeah, I also want to say, well identified that all you need to do with your Arcanine is to Snarl, right? So he switched it in. Unfortunately, he got crit, but survived there. And he was like, hey, I'm not going for any damage here. I need to support my Dragapult in the end game. Going for some Snarls there.
Yep.
And what seemed like unbreakable with all his defense stats, eventually Sakan was able to overcome that Duraludon and Togekiss combination. And then it feels like what seemed like a really strong lead in Incineroar and Dragapult. Incineroar and Duraludon. Like, he didn't have enough to back it up. I don't know, he didn't have any speed control in the back.
Yeah, I was
just had two Pokemon
I was just
dealing a lot of
that.
damage. Yeah.
I think that's the one issue with Hirofumi's team in this matchup. He doesn't have that speed control, and because of that, Arcanine and Dragapult will always be faster than every single one of his Pokemon, and Arcanine can always Snarl, and Dragapult, being that bulky, as long as it gets its weakness policy activated, will be able to do a ton of damage. So I feel like Hiroyoshi probably has to switch something up.
And it looks like he's going for Trick Room. Maybe he has a different idea though. He was considering Dusclops for a second. 8 seconds left and one more Pokemon to pick. He goes with Instant Duraludon again.
Okay, he brings Snorlax this time.
Yeah, we have seen one crazy...
Yeah, maybe Snorlax would have been able to win the game if it was there over Toxtricity. I don't know what its moveset is, but okay, that's... At least he changed something up.
Yeah, really interesting. So we already saw one crazy Snorlax set there on your end, and now we have a Assault Vest Snorlax. If you pair that up with Big Bad, you basically take no damage from fire attacks. I think that could be a great answer to Sandstorm teams, for example. Sorry, Sun teams.
Yep, for sure. But now he's not up against the Sun team. But yeah, those two Pokemon we identified, Arcanine and Dragapult, that outspeed everything on Hiroshi's team, are in the lead for Viper. And, now, once again, both of them have to make a decision here. I think you kind of want to fake out the Arcanine, but at the same time, Arcanine could very easily switch out into something like the T-Tar maybe, or I don't even know. Maybe even the Rotom. And then, do you want to attack the Dragapult with risking potentially Protect and then activating its weakness policy through the Protect?
Yeah, so there are a few options there. You can also start boosting your defense again, because I don't like the Max Moment play. But instead, he switches out as Duraludon, and we see the Snorlax entering the field.
Okay, just the Protect. Viper wants to take it slow, and this might just be Snarl, if I had to guess. Yeah.
So Snarl not playing any role here, especially with the U-turn. I think that went into Arcanine, correctly identifying that it can switch, so you have a safe U-turn there. And then reposition itself.
Yep.
Getting your Snorlax in, which is no longer intimidated, or wasn't intimidated in the first place.
But what do you switch in now? The issue is, if you want to go Duraludon, I mean, I guess you can go Duraludon and just Draco Meteor into the Dragapult and not go for the Dynamax.
Yeah. So you think having Togekiss in the back as the Dynamax option is better then?
We saw, by the way, or I think that this Togekiss actually doesn't have Air Slash. So I think it has Protect and Follow Me, so it's not a prime target for Dynamax.
That's interesting to have Weakness Policy on it, though. So what do we see? Protect, Follow Me, and Dazzingly?
I think he has Dazzingly and Heat Wave. Yeah, but anyway, like, you have to expect another Snarl coming out from this Arcanine, so, like, in no world, you can never Dynamax your Duraludon now, and Serkan has to know this. So let's see if he goes for the Phantasm.
I mean, did we see if there was any Dark move on the Snorlax?
I don't think it has a Dark move.
I guess Snarl and then Max Wormwind into that Duraludon could have been a great play to also lower the attack of Snorlax, taking more attack. I mean, you have to fear the Togekiss switch in.
I think
you cover that with the Snarl as well.
I think what is more likely is a Max Phantasm and maybe Close Combat or like Flare Blitz into that slot.
Oh yeah, that's a good option as well. But with the Intimidate from Incineroar actually going off twice, I don't think the Close Combat will be enough, and then you also lower your defenses. So let's see how this plays out here. We see a Max Phantasm into the Incineroar, barely doing any damage, but lowering the defense stats here, which could be important. And seems like yeah, maybe Serkan's hoping that somehow Hiroshi messes up and activates his Weakness Policy for him, at the same time lowering defenses, but...
Wow, it does a ton of damage with Double Edge.
Yeah.
I feel like...
the KO if you went for a Close Combat, but yeah, I don't see... Serkan, I don't like Serkan's position too much.
Yeah, me neither.
Because he doesn't have, like, he Dynamax, but he doesn't have the offensive pressure at the moment. So, and he can't really, like, take advantage of Max Phantasm combinations with Arcanine, because Arcanine is already, like, lowered by 2 stages. So he just misses up the damage output that he needs right now, and Snorlax looks like a really great Pokemon on the field right now.
Yep, and yeah, just because it's able to just stall out those Dynamax turns, I guess. Oh, and he calls that switch perfectly also. I think he went for the Heavy Slam in that slot.
I'm interested to see if he goes for a Max Wormwood maybe into that Snorlax. Which looks just like another Max Phantasm though.
He just wants to drop the defense at this point, I guess.
Yeah, so no Double Edge here, but instead a Heavy Slam breaking the disguise of Mimikyu in just a second.
Yeah, but solid prediction on Serkan's end, going for the Max Phantasm and not the Wormwind.
Yeah, I'm actually not sure if the Heavy Slam would have picked up the KO on this.
Arcanine? I don't think so. I think this was a prediction,
So this looks like a Follow Me and another Heavy Slam into Mimikyu. And I'm not sure. Maybe you could, I guess, Phantom Force the...
Yeah, Phantom Force Max Ghost is the counter to this. But even then, I guess Incineroar just comes in.
Yeah, and takes that and has no defense. Like defense drops either. So yeah, Serkan wasn't able to take advantage of his Dynamax the way he wants to. He can't even self-activate his Weakness Policy here. So just another Max Phantasm. And I'm not sure if like maybe a Water Hammer or something could deal a lot of damage, because that Snorlax should be at -3 defense now, right?
Yep. Yeah, it'll do a ton of damage for sure, but how much? Exactly, wow, it's actually enough for the clean knockout with a Play Rough. Well, that's pretty big. And now he has 2 Ghost-type Mons on the field against this Incineroar, so he cannot even fake out anything. Maybe he could Shadow Sneak and like either Phantom Force or Dragon Darts here. But yeah, like how does... This Duraludon doesn't have Protect, so it is like it'll be forced to rely on its Dynamax turns to really protect itself from damage.
Yeah, and he still has Arcanine in the back and one Pokemon that we haven't seen yet. I don't think Tita came in early, but yeah, Tita wouldn't be great to have here against those 2 Pokemon. So yeah, he's just checking like what have we seen so far, and it looks like Dragapult, Mimikyu, and Arcanine, and we don't know the last Pokemon. But yes, so Dragapult can deal, like both Pokemon can deal a lot of damage here. The question is, when do you break your Dynamax?
Yeah.
And what is the best play for that? So let's see how that plays out. He can always have his Arcanine in the back and Snarl again, and then the last Pokemon will probably decide the game. So we see a Protect.
And maybe Phantom Force. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like hoping to try and waste one turn of Dynamax, but Hiroshi did not go for that yet.
Yeah, that was well identified. Like you could either Dynamax into that Mimikyu, but then you waste a turn. You could Dynamax into Dragapult, but then you activate his weakness policy for Protect, most likely, or not do any damage at all.
He's checking his Incineroar to try and figure out how much this is gonna do and whether it will KO. Because that's really important. Like if you miss the knockout with the Darkest Lariat on the Dragapult, then it's really problematic because then you activate the weakness policy.
I want to say that Dragapult has a good chance to live.
I think so too. But this looked like an offensive Incineroar for sure.
Yeah, so let's see how that plays out. Because I feel like if you give him the weakness policy boost, he can Phantom Force next turn, waste another turn of Dynamax as well, and get a lot of damage off. Or even Dragon Darts at +2. So let's see what happens here. Oh,
okay,
Dragon Darts.
Just Dragon Darts.
Citrus Berry and Incineroar.
Yeah, well, this Mimikyu won't do that much and will be knocked out. We already know that, but the real big question this turn is how much damage does Dragapult take from this Darkest Lariat? I mean, obviously we're rooting for Viper, but I also would want to see Game 3, so I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
Whether I want this to KO or not.
So let's see how. Yeah, let's see if that's. I want to say it lives.
I think it goes down.
Think it goes down? Okay, let's see.
Oh, and it goes down.
No critical hit either. Alright. Okay, so it is Arcanine in the back, plus one more Pokemon, but he's already at +1 defense, so I don't want to say it's like over by any means. A potential Rock Slide.
Yeah, Titar is the last one.
Have we seen the item on Titar yet?
No.
Okay. Because I want to say Rock Slide could pick up the KO on Incineroar.
Can we assume that it's Sash on Titar?
I mean, that's a fair assumption here. That's where I was going, because if he decides to attack into that... Okay, that's a smart play there. Because if he decides to attack into Tyranitar but doesn't get the KO thanks to the Sash, and then Arcanine and... So yeah, interesting to see how this plays out.
Yeah, I guess...
I'm very much expecting a Snarl here.
I think you need to hope for a crit, I guess. But even then, you probably don't win. Yeah, Hirofumi identified that with late game Droludon, he can probably take on the game once Dragapult of his opponent is being taken care of, and he kinda like trapped or tricked Viper into Dynamaxing early with Dragapult, and I don't think it was a bad play, but with this offensive Incineroar getting the one-hit knockout, like that I would assume messed up Viper's game plan a little bit, because he was banking on his Dragapult living any attack, and then all of a sudden Darkest Lariat, because this is a very, very offensive Incineroar, got the KO on Dragapult, and yeah, then that just changed the dynamic of the game so much. So
yeah, and it seemed like there was a Rock Slide miss, but I think at that point it didn't matter too much.
Yeah.
Because even if the Incineroar goes down, and it would be a Sash, and another Max Steel Spike is just... But we see a forfeit from Serkan, and it ties up to 1-1 between Hiroshi and Viper, and we see another game 3.
Yeah, that was kind of the opposite of the first game. Like, I feel like in the first game, the first couple of turns went pretty well, or like the early game went pretty well for Hiroshi with a critical hit, and then Viper came back. Now it felt like Hiroshi was actually the one who was on the back foot a little bit in that game, and then Viper climbed back.
Yeah. So let's see how I really like the Snorlax. It was just taking on like any potential attacks there from the two Ghost Pokemon, except for a player off at -3 defense, to be fair. But just the presence, not being able to max Phantasms, and then always having the option to either switch in Incineroar into max Phantasms or switch in Togekiss into max Wormwinds makes it really hard for Serkan to get a proper game plan going on there. And I want to see that maybe Serkan preserves his Dynamax a little bit longer in this game, or is able to actually like take more advantage of it by getting knockouts with max Phantasm and physical attack combinations.
Yep. Yeah, once again, the key to this matchup seems to be the Dynamax. I think for both, it's pretty clear which Pokemon they want to Dynamax. Like for Zircon, it's going to be the Dragapult, and then for Hirofumi, it'll be the Duraludon. But then at the same time, the question is like, when do you do it, right? So the first game, Hiroshi went for the early Dynamax, Viper went for the late Dynamax, and he won. And now this game was the other way around, and once again, the late Dynamax won. So,
do you think that maybe Serkan should switch it up a little bit and bring Togekiss so that he can, like at the moment, he doesn't have any redirection, and if you position yourself in a weird spot where your opponent can go for the Life Orb boosted maximum runs into your
I feel like with Duraludon and Toxtricity, like Duraludon bypassing redirection and Toxtricity having like a multi-hit move as its main source of damage output, I don't think Togekiss does much.
Yeah, but that's very true. I forgot about the Stalwart ignoring the.
It's been a while since we saw Duraludon.
Yeah, that's true. But now Serkan having the double Ghost lead here, and any potential like Shadow Sneak self-activation here could be really huge. Yeah. And in theory, you could take out the Incineroar slot there, I want to say. Like, if you max Wormbit into that, the +2, I think whatever switches in, except for the Togekiss, has to fear to get knocked out.
Well, yeah, but the Togekiss is just really, really threatening, because once again, you don't want to waste any of your Dynamax turns, and Togekiss and Snorlax as well, for that matter. He has like 2 immunities to Dragapult's stabs in the back, so I think it's actually very difficult for Zircon to safely get off the damage. Like, I wouldn't feel safe Dynamaxing Dragapult here, because this could just be some switches coming out, and then I don't know.
All right, so we see the Snorlax coming in to take any potential max Phantasms here. Serkan actually goes for the Dynamax early on this game, and I'm interested to see if he maybe went for the max moment into Incineroar slot. Taking that out early on could help a lot. And Hiroshi, he actually went for a U-turn to break the skies. So it seems like there's a stealth activation. Thanks to the Intimidate from Incineroar, it does even less damage to its own Dragapult there. And the question is, does he go for max Phantasm, or is that a max moment?
That looks like a max Wormwind, and that looks like a lot of damage, but not quite enough for the knockout.
Whew. I want to say that was really good damage on the Snorlax, but I don't think that overall Snorlax is a big threat. It just, I mean, if you take it out, obviously it's gone, but like, it's not the offensive threat that you want to take out.
The thing though is, like, once you get a knockout on something, like another Pokemon will have to come in. And it just limits like switching options a lot, so you can make you can be sure of where to attack and so on. So
so you can Phantasm into the Duraludon now because there's no
for example. But at the same time, like, Hirofumi still has his switching potential, and I think it would be wise for him to not go for the Dynamax yet and maybe wait until Viper's Dynamax is over, or you go for it like this turn.
Yeah, I was thinking that
Duraludon is on the field and probably cannot be knocked out.
So we don't know how fast this Mimikyu is, but let's pretend it's max speed and outspeeds the Duraludon. Do you think that a Phantasm Play Rough combination could pick up the KO on the Duraludon here?
Well, if he switched into Incineroar, I would have said no, but now I also don't think no. Yeah, there's no way, because Mimikyu is intimidated, and I mean, Dragapult is kind of strong.
But it's also, I feel like it's a speedy one because it was Well, we don't know how fast it is, but like it doesn't look like max HP here.
Yeah,
so
no, this
it's
should be a speedy.
faster.
This should be speedy Dragapult. Yeah, maybe actually the combination comes close, but I don't think it would get the knockout.
Yeah, probably no 50% damage from the player of the IU3.
Yeah.
Well, that's some really good damage here, and I want to say the max moment in return picks up the KO.
Okay, he just spread damage again. Decided to go for that. What was the Snorlax? Now it's the Togekiss. He will lose the Dragapult though to this Dynamaxed Duraludon. And now Mimikyu gets another attack drop, and Togekiss is now there to protect the Duraludon. So even though Serkan has his Arcanine, for example, like even like if he has it, which would outspeed the Duraludon, it can only go for Snarl and not actually damage it. So Duraludon is kind of free to go for another attack.
Yeah, I'm wondering if Serkan could maybe pick up a knockout on the Togekiss here with a Flare Blitz.
But we would expect his Mimikyu to outspeed.
Oh yeah.
So like yeah, he cannot knock out the Togekiss and then also get an attack off on Duraludon. So Duraludon is kind of free for this turn, I think.
Yeah, I guess you could Phantom Force and then pick up the knockout. But yeah, there's some potential plays here, but Duraludon is definitely the big threat here on the field.
And then you're at -1 though. Like you're already -2, sorry, on the Mimikyu, and if you Phantom Force, then it's just gone altogether.
Yeah.
So Viper's switching into Tyranitar. I think he might want to, like maybe he wants to swap out his Mimikyu this turn and go for Rock Slide to get the knockout on Togekiss. Because then for the next turn he would have Arcanine, I guess.
So from how the games went overall, I feel like Serkan was able to win game 1 because he did some damage control from the Duraludon's Dynamax and then was able to come back afterwards. But I feel like if Hirofumi is clever enough, and that's exactly what happened the last 2 games, or like the last game and now, he brings in Duraludon in a great spot to Dynamax.
Yeah.
And like don't have the Arcanine, Snarl threat on the field and everything else. I feel like Duraludon is just too strong to get overcome.
Yeah, Duraludon was really strong this set so far. Also, something that I liked what Hirofumi did in the second and the third game was he would always try and break Mimikyu's disguise before going for the Dynamax.
Yeah, that's also smart. You're always able to. I don't want to say with Duraludon on the field, like Phantom Force is not a great way to deal with the Dynamax because you're just giving up one slot because both. Ooh, interesting.
Yeah, it doesn't work out unfortunately for Serkan as Max Steel Spike comes out into T-Tar.
And gets confirmation about the sash there.
Yeah, so Incineroar now at +1, T-Tar at -1. Let's see what move this is.
It misses one Pokemon, and it feels like it was a Duraludon though.
Yeah, it doesn't do any damage to that Incineroar, wow.
The question is, do you think Arcanine can bring this game back, considering that Duraludon is under half, Snorlax is under half?
He still has... Well, Togekiss cannot really hit the Arcanine for anything. But... Well, at least he's blocking the U-turn, so now he can bring in Arcanine and... Well, if he has it, and he'll be able to threaten the knockout on the Duraludon, and there's no follow me, no fake out, nothing on the field to stop it.
Yeah, that's very true. And then maybe if we assume that Tyranitar is faster than the Rock Slide, might not be able to pick up the KO here, especially after 2 defense boosts. But there's a flinch potential, and then Serkan is in a better position to overcome this whole game. But yeah, I want to say Hirofumi is in the driver's seat at the moment.
Yeah, for sure. Viper down to his last 2 Pokemon. It's Arcanine as his very last one. So Duraludon is at neutral again? Or
Duraludon?
+1 defense.
Should be +1. It took 1 Phantasm and...
Yeah, and used twice. But yeah, it should be going down to a move from this Arcanine. So...
I'm actually not sure. Do you think Close Combat or Flawless is enough there?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, let's see.
And then Viper would need Rock Slide to flinch this Incineroar, I think.
Did you see where the U-turn went into? Was it
Yeah,
into
he went
Tyranitar?
U-turn into T-Tar. Because if that goes off, T-Tar is down and Incineroar can come back in, intimidates Arcanine, can go for a fake out, and then yeah, there's just no way. There's the close combat.
Okay, gets the knockout.
Yeah, he really needs the Rock Slide flinch or crit or anything.
Let's hope that he hits to begin with. Okay, that's a Rock Slide. Connects. Doesn't crit. Activates Citrus Berry.
Wow.
But even if you flinch here.
Okay, it does flinch.
What do you do next time if Togekiss comes in now?
Well, Rock Slide again. Hope that you're faster, I guess.
Ooh. Do you think
He's like health-wise, he's kind of low on everything. I still think
that's what I meant.
Hiroshi is still the one to like very favored to win the game because of his Incineroar. But with that flinch, maybe Viper's back into the game.
Yeah, so I think a potential play is to protect your Togekiss and switch out your Incineroar. Because that way you then have the fake out pressure again. And if he goes for Rock Slide and that might pick up the KO on Snorlax with the Sandstorm combined, then you suddenly have a Togekiss and Inci on the field.
Yeah, this is still in reach, I think. If he protects T-Tar, like if he reads this play and goes for like protect close combat or something, like it's really far-fetched, but yeah.
Yeah. I guess I would say that Flare Blitz and a Rock Slide combination here is probably what you would want to go with. Otherwise, you have to make a prediction, and I don't know how that goes. So we see follow me, actually.
Okay.
I don't like that play. I don't like that play because now he gets a Rock Slide off, and if he flinches, that's really bad. And he also gets a lot of damage on both Pokemon. So
Togekiss actually goes down.
Yeah, that's what I meant. So even if he, I guess he really needs the.
Okay, U-turn comes out though. I think with all the defense drops that the Arcanine has now,
a fake out double edge will be enough.
Yeah, fake out double edge should be enough.
That's why we like to have why. I don't know if we have not seen Flare Blitz, but
nope.
That's what I would have liked to see. And maybe if Flare Blitz was enough, then single target Rock Slide. I guess you still need a flinch. I suppose.
Yeah. I mean, he made a play. He tried to call it. If he got it right, then he would have won, I guess. Not if he got it right, but if Hiroshi went for the protect. But yeah, Hiroshi identifies the correct play and then also does not get flinched.
So there's a double edge and the fake out, and that seals the game. Wow, and Japan is up 3-1 out of nowhere. And doesn't look too great here. Fake out actually does that was a crit, but it did a lot of damage.
Yeah, that was a great game. Great set by both of them. Yeah, in the end, Viper once again Dynamaxing maybe a little too early. He saw an opening against this team, and I feel like Viper must be kicking himself after this one, because I wouldn't say that he had a really good matchup. Duraludon is definitely a problem for his team, but he had all the tools he needed to beat it, I think.
As I said, if you bring in Duraludon in the right position, then it's really hard for Serkan. You need your weakness policy activated, and you need, I don't know, ideally you snarl it, attack it with max moment, and have a follow-up at the same time, but that's not possible. So Duraludon, Togekiss seems like a really strong combination. And maybe moving forward, we have seen that what Serkan was using was pretty much a pretty standardish team, I want to say. He had his Twister, but it was the big Pokemon, right? It was Dragapult, Tita, Togekiss, Arcanine, Rotom, all great Pokemon. And maybe Hiroshi sets a new trend where he shows people that, hey, Duraludon might deserve a comeback here. Maybe even with its newly released Gigantamax as well.
Probably not that one.
But yeah, I don't know. Maybe that is. Maybe we will see more players picking that up, and Duraludon being a big like threat for all these teams. Because once again, like I just rediscovered that, and maybe a lot of people will see it as well. Usually you protect your Dragapult with like follow me uses, such as Togekiss or even like the Clefairy. But Druluva just completely ignoring that. Like, it's a great way to deal with
for sure.
with Dragapult.
Now, if we have a look at the current state of the match, Japan is leading this exhibition series 3-1. And yeah, they only need one more set to win.